Friday. We are back with another Wisdom Friday. So, welcome back to Kenton and Habiba. If you're new here, we are a married couple and we've been married for over 30 years.
Almost 30.
Almost 30 years.
We've been together 30
Right.
years.
We've been together almost 30 years. Anyway, we've been together for a long time. We've been together for a long time.
Yeah.
And as you can see from the title, we are going to talk about it because although this is a lifestyle channel where I often bring you a lot of positive family related, food related, house and garden related content, and occasionally we talk about relationships, we thought we should talk about the whole Oscars, the slap, because we because honestly, I think that even though I'm sure a lot of you are tired of seeing the images on television, I know I'm tired of seeing the image, the actual slap. I'm so tired of it, but I do feel like it really raises a lot of important issues that, you know, are important to talk about. And so we're here and we're going to talk about it. And I have to say also, I know that a lot of you guys watch us with your children. And again, we usually bring very wholesome content. I will say that I think you probably should not have your children watching this today with me. Because if you want me to be myself and you want him to be his self, there's a chance, because this is live, that a curse word may come out every now and then. I'm just telling you. I'm going to try my best not to, but I'm just saying sometimes a girl might say a cuss word because that's how I naturally speak.
Well, it's a hot topic, and
Right.
Sometimes, you know, it can and will invoke
Emotion.
strong emotional reaction.
Right.
So it's understandable. So, you know, you
Right.
gotta give people that safe space, you know, especially if you're trying to have a honest discussion, because there's a lot of different layers to this that, you know, can trigger things in people. So,
Right, absolutely. So I'm just saying, I want you to give me that grace where if you want us to be as comfortable talking to you realistically, that I don't want to really feel like I got to filter too much. I'm not talking to a patient. Let's just say I'm talking to a friend. And
we're all friends here.
Right, we're friends here, right? We're
Right.
family. We're friends. We're family.
I mean, you know, I mean, that means that everyone shouldn't think exactly alike. We agree
Right.
to disagree.
Right.
That's the whole point, is that we learn from each other, because not everyone has all the answers.
Right.
So that's the whole point of these conversations: explore things, get different ideas.
Right.
You know, many times, you know, you as viewers participate. That's really key. You'll throw
Right.
in an idea. You say, "What about this? What about that?" And
Right.
you raise good points. And
Right. So definitely leave your comments as we're going. And if we say something that you just do not agree with, definitely leave that. We want healthy conversation.
Yeah.
So here's the premise. In general, Kenton and I kind of agree on quite a bit of things or issues as it related to the Oscars and, you know, the backstory and this and that. But there's some things we don't agree with. And so I think to make it even more interesting is that I'm going to come on the other side. So just to give you, I guess the point is Team Chris or Team Will Smith, right? Whether you agree, everyone has a different point of view depending on your experiences, depending on what triggers you. Again, we tend to agree, but I'm just going to, for now, try and come with the point of view of Will Smith or those who support Will Smith. Because to be honest, me personally, I'm definitely Team Chris Rock, you know. And I am a fan of both of them. I've always been a fan of both of them. But in terms of what actually happened, I definitely feel like Will Smith was in the wrong. However, we're going to go deeper into it because, you know, it's not just about right or wrong. We're all human. And it's a lot. There are a lot of layers to this. And this is what I'm hoping that we can discuss. So I'm going to try as much as possible to come with the point of view of Will Smith supporters or those who feel like he was justified in doing what he did.
So,
And
again, I want to
Kenton,
say hello to everyone out there.
yes,
Say, come on.
hello,
Just want to
hello,
know,
hello. So Kenton is definitely team Chris Rock.
well,
I mean, to simplify it,
yeah, I guess
just to
I don't
simplify
like
it
the
for
team
those.
thing, but then
Right,
again,
but that's what's out there.
I know, but that's
Okay,
just not.
so let's give them a quick, as if we didn't know, as if you were under a rock. What happened? Just a quick synopsis of what happened.
The title says.
No. What happened?
Will Smith slapped.
Why?
Chris Rock.
Why did he slap him?
Allegedly for disrespecting his wife, and I use the word allegedly.
Right. So I know most of you guys watched the Oscars or saw the recap. And for those that were supportive or have been supportive, remain supportive to Will Smith, I think it brings up a lot of issues, not just about what it means to be a man, but what it means to be a protective husband, what it means to be a black man, what it means to be a wife, what it means to feel disrespected. I feel like all those issues come to play. And for those who felt that he was justified, some of the things that I've heard people say is that one of the main things that people say in regards to Will Smith slapping Chris Rock was that wife Jada Pinkett felt totally disrespected or felt hurt and felt, that he was attacking her personally by making a joke about her personal image. And that, he was making a joke about her health and the fact that she has alopecia, and that was very insensitive. So what do you say about that? What's your point from there? What do you think in terms of the fact that Chris Rock was being insensitive about her alopecia, number one?
Okay. So it's alopecia, right?
Alopecia,
Not
yeah.
alopecia.
Not
We've
alopecia.
been hearing a lot of different pronunciation of alopecia.
Right.
Even then, just by even saying the name funny might offend people. I think
Right.
that there's a heightened level of sensitivity. So, so to counter for those that are saying, yeah, he was making a joke about a medical condition. Again, that's a very broad term. So, because see, again, you say medical condition, and then it can trigger in people, especially who've experienced medical conditions like cancer or some life-threatening, and they'll put in that category. And again, it's not to downplay, but everything's not equal. See, that's the thing. It's not all equivalent.
Right.
So, for example, someone that comes in that has, a blood cancer condition into a clinic is going to, versus someone with alopecia, there's going to be a different level. But so anyway, so the whole point is that, again, the assumption is made that he knew about her condition, but he was again, it was a low level joke. Unless you're
It really wasn't even that funny. I didn't even think it was that funny.
I thought you're on Will Smith.
Okay, I'm on.
Okay, see, I gotta check you. See how you crossed over? You crossed over. No, you're supposed to be like, hey, that was a mean
that
joke.
was an insensitive joke.
All right, thank you, Kim.
Right, I have a hair condition, or I have a condition that I have
skin condition.
no skin condition or hair condition that I have no control over, and you ridiculed me in front of all these white people, on top of everything else, in front of all of these people, prestigious people.
That's fair. That's fair. It's the Oscars.
And I, as a black woman, I'm tired of people ridiculing my condition.
Exactly. So there's a lot already right there. There's a lot there.
There's a lot.
And that's fair. That's fair because again, women of color, particularly black women and Latina, they have to experience microaggressions every day.
Right.
Just the constant disrespect, the constant struggle of being acknowledged for the success and hard work and everything. And so it's just constantly every day, and it wears on you. Right. Absolutely. So, So those things, and that's valid. Those are valid statements. So it's not, so it doesn't invalidate that. So let's just take it apart a little bit. So first of all, let's go with the medical condition, argument, because that's one of them, right? 'Cause
Right.
your team throws that argument in. So fair enough. So if we look at the joke again, the joke, as Steve Harvey has commented on, is really a not worthy joke for the level of the reaction. The meaning is that, again, a GI Jane joke is really applicable to those over 40. Because it's a 20-year-old
older
movie.
movie.
Yeah, 20-year-old movie. That's why That's why it didn't have a big reaction like it did.
Right.
Even Will Smith, he laughed at it.
Right.
He initially laughed at it because
Right.
it wasn't that until he looked over. So the thing is that, so in a sense, the joke as a joke. Same thing. It's the Oscars. He's the host. It's a tradition for the opening to go through and kind of do a mini roast through everyone. I mean, Ricky Gervais did it for several years. Even when, when the other hosts have done it, they made jokes throughout the histories of the Oscars to be lighthearted. Because
Right.
again, the whole point is that you have a room, a rarefied atmosphere of people with very elevated sense of self.
Right.
That so in many ways
We've
removed,
created these many
yeah.
gods out of these
Well,
celebrities.
idol worship basically.
Right.
And so we come in, and so it's funny to take those personalities down a notch a little bit. Alibi sometimes a little harshly, sometimes
and that's what these
duly.
comedians do.
And that's what they do, is just to kind of bring down the room, so it's not this totally self-absorbed
Right.
type of thing. It's like, hey, we're human too, ha ha ha, as I go back to my multi-million-dollar mansion and
Right.
that sort of stuff.
And to be honest, I don't know what side this is. I think the whole GI Jane thing, GI Jane was hot. Anybody who remembers Demi Moore back in the day, she was an attractive woman. Yes, she was not a black woman, and yes, she shaved off her hair for a movie role. But to me, the point is, comparing her to a buff lady who happened to have a low shaved head, who played a kick-ass woman, I did not see that as an insult. I really just did not see that as an insult. But I get it. Jada Pinkett.
Well, yeah. So again, going back to Team Will Smith.
I can't stay in my lane. I can't stay in my
Okay,
lane.
so back to Team Will Smith. So again with the alopecia. So
Right.
again, it's a valid condition and so forth. But see, the thing is, though, it's interesting again because a lot of people want to harp on it. But there's a considerable amount of normalization of that condition. Because there are bald
they're
models.
attractive.
Matter of fact, seeing it.
There are tons of attractive women out there with short hair or bald hair.
One of the first Sports Illustrated models, Christy Valdesari, has alopecia, and she's bald. And one of the striking things was when she was doing a runway, she took her wig off. And then also you've seen other models, black as well as white and in between,
Right.
that are showing that, being bald is an option. And whether it's alopecia or by
Right.
choice or by whatever other condition,
Right.
the whole point is that it's to show that, again, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder.
Right.
But we shouldn't basically bully or demean people just because they look different.
Right.
And that's part of the normalization, is that we have a spectrum of beauty, and we should
Right.
accept that. So again, so you have one group that is fighting for, again, equalization and respect of women by saying, yes, this is how it is, and we're proud of who we are, and therefore.
Right. And to step out as a doctor for a minute, I mean, to be honest, Jada Pinkett shaving her head off, that was definitely a choice. That was definitely a choice, in my opinion. She has countless times shown videos of herself talking about this condition. So it wasn't necessarily something she was ashamed about, but I get it. For a lot of women, their hair is their crown, and it's a sensitive thing for a lot of Black females, for a lot of ethnic females in general. But as a doc, when I saw her shaved head and she pointed out this little skinny strip of alopecia, of hair loss, She could have easily grown her hair to cover that area, but she chose that look. And again, most of us thought she looked beautiful. And it wasn't really a big deal, but yes, who am I to say whether it's a big deal for her emotionally or not? All I'm saying is I did not put it in the same category as I would put another illness like cancer or leukemia or heart disease. Or so when people keep throwing around she has a medical condition, a lot of those medical conditions cause pain, cause physical pain, are really, things that change people's lives significantly. I'm sorry, you might think I'm a little insensitive, but I do not think alopecia, at least the version that Jada Pickett has, is causing or has caused any significant major, I don't know, pain, whether it be physical pain in her life, because she has paraded herself with short hair many a times, and she uses her platform to talk about her hair or her looks.
Well,
So,
I think the challenge part of it is that again we don't know what goes into someone's mind,
right,
but
right, right,
but
right,
but
exactly.
but she has been very open. See, that's the
Right,
difference. It's sort of just like if you weren't in court
right,
and someone said, and the counter argument is like, well, we don't know what's going on in that person's head, but you can infer it from their actions. And the one thing is that again, particularly with Jada, is that she's very public about her opinions
right,
and about her behavior and her actions,
right.
especially around the red table. And so she has very clearly said that she's very proud of being bald and stuff. So this is kind of then kind of
It just
contra.
seems, yeah,
Yeah, it seems a
it's
little
not
self-serving
right.
that when you're
It's not
sitting and you're
consistent.
promoting it and you're saying I'm proud and stuff like that, then you say someone insulted my baldness. But wait a minute, if you're proud, just like if you're proud of your heritage, you're proud. Someone can say whatever they want to say. If a white supremacist sits there and goes like, "Oh, you're from Africa, go back." If
Right.
you're proud Nigerian, you'd be like, psst. And
Yeah.
say like,
Get the
going
fuck
back-
outta
yeah,
here.
what are you
Like,
talking about?
what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what are you
exactly.
talking about? It's like, I come from a beautiful place,
Right.
or anywhere. If you're proud to be Asian, you're proud to be Southeast Asian. Someone
Right.
can, all what you say, there's no shame in it. You're just like, psst, you're ignorant.
Right.
So you can say all you want to say.
All right, so let's get off the alopecia thing for
So
now.
anyway,
I think we've got that.
well, I mean, so again, it's not even just alopecia. It's the what you would call is a disconnect, a disingenuousness about
Right.
offense.
Right.
How can you say you're offended by something that you were no more than 6 months ago claiming
Less than weeks ago.
claiming pride
Right,
in
right.
the very
Right.
visage.
Right.
So again, to Will Smith's team, that doesn't hold water, as they say.
Right.
It is enough. Now the second thing then goes to a point is that then did even if you allege, okay, going back to the offense, does that rise to the level of an assault? Because let's be clear, you hitting someone is an assault. Whether you have a mitigating circumstance, okay, meaning that okay, there's something else that triggers it, it's very clear that it's assault. You don't put your hands on somebody. So
What
unless it's
about
self-defense.
what about this from again Team Smith?
Yeah.
People that are saying, especially I've seen that those who are this narrative has been predominantly black women that are saying, or not even just black women, let me say ethnic women. I've seen this a lot of the comments from ethnic women that are saying he needed to do what he needed to do to protect his wife. He was protecting his wife.
Right.
Right. And, under all circumstances, he was just doing the right thing as a husband, protecting his wife.
Sure.
What do you say to that?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things again to unpack in that statement. So because to protect the woman, and of course, again, this is part of any man being protective of his wife, partner, whether it's same sex or whatever. I mean, again, it's someone that you care about and you love. And so again, it rises to that. And look, we're all been in situations where I mean, someone will, say something disparaging or something very
We've been
disrespectful.
there.
Oh
We've
yeah,
been
it
there.
happens. You live long enough, you're gonna experience
Right.
it.
You've been married long enough or been
Or
with
been with a
someone long
partner or
enough.
something. Someone's gonna,
Somebody's gonna say
they
something.
get cut in line. You just do something, and you say, "Hey, excuse me," and then they just respond back. So this is where the moment of decision comes in. It's like, do you escalate it up? And we all been there where it starts to escalate up. So the thing is that does every insult or perceived insult warrants an assault? So meaning that, okay, so for those that say like, oh, this is one for the black woman and stuff like that, he was standing up, defending her honor and stuff, and it's chivalrous. It's like, okay, there you go.
Right. And
So,
most women want like that romantic notion
Right,
of
yeah.
he stood up for me and yeah.
But let's think back. So again, with our audience stuff, and again, we talk about this as a family show. So if you're going to give advice to your son or daughter, and someone says something that's disrespectful, is your immediate advice is to go, hey, smack them. Forget about the consequences. Just smack them. Some people only say that's good parenting advice. Or is the other advice is to say, wait a minute, do a 3-second pause, assess the situation, and make a determination is that, one, say something, but use your words first.
Right, but he's human, okay? And
right.
history has shown
Yeah.
that Chris Rock has made so many jokes
Yeah.
repeatedly about his family over
But
and
you know
over
what?
and
But
over.
you
So
know
this
what?
was not the first
But
time.
You know what?
What?
Chris Rock isn't the only one that's been
Right.
making jokes over and over again. First of all, no one makes jokes unless you put your stuff out there.
Right, you
okay?
gave them food.
So, right. So, that's the whole thing. You gave them the knives, as Dale Hughley says, for you to get into those type of situations, okay? So this goes to the other point is that going back, that joke was innocuous. It wasn't worthy, as Steve Harvey says, of the slap. So it means there's something more going on.
Right,
that's been
clearly
building
they
up.
have beef. They've had beef for a
Well-
while prior to the show.
Well, they had beef, but he's had beef with other people. So let me get to the point of the chivalry part, okay? So they're saying, oh, he's standing up to defend. But what about Jada standing up to defend her black man? Let's think about this for a moment. So prior to this, with all the entanglements, with all throwing it out there, with all
What
the
has this got to do with the entanglements?
It's
I'm just playing
no,
again. Team
it-
Will
it
Smith.
has
What
a-
did this
it
got to
has
do with the
a-
entanglements?
It has a lot to do with it, is because it's not about the joke. It's about him being ridden upon by the public, being emasculated, and it builds on you, to the point where again, it's something much deeper. It's like a snap. It's like he sat there, he said the joke, he laughed. He was like, "Oh man, you dumbass."
Yeah, I laughed,
Then-
or he
but then
laughed
he
because
laughed.
of Hollywood.
But
He
then
laughed because everybody else laughed.
But he still
And
laughed.
then-
But then he looked over.
Right.
And she basically, unleashed the Kraken, and then also he went into attack mode. But my point is that again, the first response, which you usually say is really the honest response. Yeah, it was Hollywood, but it's because he also knew that the camera was on him, that there was a bigger thing. And mind
Right.
you, this was the first Hollywood, because back in 2016, Jada was boycotting it, saying that we need more diversity, which is a fair argument in regards. So in 26, so now we go to 2022, we get diversity. We had, I think Bill Packard,
Right.
first actor. We had,
Well, there were other black people that have directed or helped direct,
Yeah,
contribute, but this was the most
the
number
most
of.
enough, and then right, very diverse representation. So he, there was some cognizance of the importance of this.
Right.
But again, what happened is this goes back to again, the parenting piece. That's why I said that 3-second pause is to assess and to really think about, am I doing this as really to defend? You can use your words and see, and if you think about it, that would have been the response, because that's why Chris Rock leaned into him, turned his face,
right.
because he was thinking he was going to tell him to basically tell him, hey man, that's not cool.
To back off or something.
And he would have. He'd been like, okay, no problem. He might even have had an apology. He didn't even give him that option, because that's the thing. That's a grown folk approach. See, they took a poll and they saw that older older being 40 and over, were taking that approach to sit there and say, put the person, check them. That's what I'm saying. It's like you want to correct it. You check them and say, hey man, because again, what's true power, true control is restraint. See,
Right, and we can all agree on that point. But again, let me be Team Will Smith and say, in the heat of the moment, where you've got all these dignitaries and all these people clapping and laughing, you got a whole room of white folk laughing yet again to a joke told by a black man at the expense of my black wife. I'm not having it. So I snapped and I did what I would do if I was on the street.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's what you would do if you were on the street, but you weren't on the street. See, and that's the other counter issue to Will Smith's team. You're not on the street. And whether you like it or not, and also because, again, you put that persona out there that you're representing, that you're the symbol of love and all this sort of stuff. You did what you truly are, not the branding. See, I don't think that's part of that idol worship, because what you see and what is are two different things.
Right.
And the thing is that if he was to be that slap, how come he didn't go slap with the kid that was sleeping with your wife? You didn't do that. I mean, isn't that more of the insult? And then putting that business out there, and again, where women are saying, "Oh, the man should be dead," but what about again the contrary? How was there respect for the black queen to her black king? No, so where's that? Where's that little nuance in that? Because it works both ways. You can't have one partner say, defend me, and yet disrespect that person in public.
Right.
I'm not talking about if you want to disrespect someone, then your own business behind. But to disrespect him in public, and if you watch, sometimes he had a little Instagram or Twitter stuff. He was going nuts about it, but he couldn't do anything about it.
Right.
But in that moment, it just all came to a head. Again, you can't psychoanalyze someone from the whole point. But the thing is that that little joke, that was a weak joke.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't real. He didn't go out and say like, hey, I don't know how you married her with that bald head. That would have even been a stronger joke. Because that delivery. No, he said, hey, see, you got Jane for. Just like if she shaved her head for a role.
Right.
Right? Because you could have taken it out. If you didn't know she had alopecia, I didn't know about it because I don't follow that stuff.
Right.
I would have thought, oh, he's just making reference to her head for a movie role. Because she could have been in a movie role. I mean, there's a lot of actresses that shave their head to do movie roles, right?
All right, I'm tired of being Team
no,
Will Smith.
You're on Will Smith. You gotta.
No, because I'm on both of their sides. I'm on both of their sides, but I can't stand it.
No, you have to stay on that side. That's how it works. So again, going back again. So what?
Because I want to speak as me, and I have a hard time.
You did. You picked it. So what is? That's the thing. So what is the advice you would give to your son or daughter? Right. And that's the thing. Because would you tell them to go haul off and smack someone? Because that's the consequences. Because that's the thing. Because in that rarefied bubble bullshit, in the real world, you go to jail. You get shot, you get killed, you get stabbed. Over what? Over words. There was a recent court case of this man that shot another man in an argument in a movie theater in Florida over popcorn. Well, actually, it was because he was texting the babysitter, the father, and this older man sat behind him. He didn't like that he was on his phone. Of course, this is in previews. You know how they tell you, shut up the phone, whatever. He goes out, comes back, they get in an argument. The guy throws popcorn at him. He has a gun, this older man, he's in his 70s, now he's 79, because it took 8 years to get to trial. Right. He shoots him dead and shoots his wife's hand because she was holding her hand to hold her husband back. Because you get heated, right? Right. But he shoots him. They did not convict him. They went ahead, even though he couldn't use his stand the ground defense because it didn't work, they still used a self-defense. And he basically got let go. And the thing is that really, and over words, the guy didn't even touch him, but he shot him. And enough people. So to those back to the Will Smith that says it's okay to slap someone over words, think about that. So if you can reverse it, if someone shot your son and said like he insulted that person, you say, wait a minute, you can't shoot people. Is that okay? What if I slapped him? Because there are cases where someone got punched and they died. Okay, it happened at a bar. It happened to a young man. And he just walked out and he got sucker punched. One punch. and he fell and hit his head. It happened also where a woman was shoved, older woman was shoved by another young lady, a privilege, in Manhattan, and just shoved her. She hit her head. So the thing is that people sit there and the bottom line is you don't put your hands on someone
No, absolutely
for that.
not.
So it's ridiculous. So the thing is that, so you think about it. What is your value system when you say it's okay? So let's switch it around, because this is what we do in law school, right? We switch the fact pattern. So what if, instead of Will Smith, it was a white actor who has a black wife, but he walked up and hit Chris Rock? I guarantee you, people would colorize it a little different because they're bringing in all these other outside.
Right.
But the bottom line is wrong is wrong.
Right.
You don't put your hand, because see, when you start colorizing, it makes it harder for you to make a determination of right and wrong. See, it starts shifting because you're using all these
Right. Jada Pinkett, in my opinion, does not stand for every black woman. I hate when people use the argument,
That's what she's trying to be.
to defend her by saying, look what is happening to the black woman. No, Jada Pinkett and what she does in her marriage and how she handles herself and her affairs, in my opinion, does not represent every black woman. And so defending her, you can defend her because you like her, or you can defend Will Smith because you think you like him, but I don't think everything necessarily is about color. And I do think that there is a right or wrong. And I feel like if it were my husband, I wouldn't look at it or see it as him honoring me by going up to slap another man. Because in the real world, you go and you slap another man or you hurt another man because you think you're defending me. Now you lose your job, or now there are serious repercussions. You have hurt both of us. So I don't see how that was lifting me up or lifting our family or defending my honor. When I personally watched the whole, the clip, my first thought was, oh, this goes deeper. When I watched the slap, my first thought was this goes deeper than that joke, because that joke was dumb. It wasn't even a joke. I looked at it as, when you're on the phone and you're in a room full of people, and maybe you're mad at a lot of people in the room, but you can't tell them. So you're on the phone with someone and you're talking real loud, like, yeah, you better not touch my wife, and you better da-da-da, because you're really talking to everybody else, So I looked at it as clearly Will Smith has a lot of issues. He's angry with a lot of people in Hollywood for all the, verbal abuse or all the ridicule that has gone on. And now he wants to take it out on someone. So he used this platform. And unfortunately, he took it out on the wrong guy. I honestly believe he took it out on the wrong guy. Yes, that guy has been jabbing at him maybe for years. But come on, it did not warrant a physical abuse. It just did not.
Yeah, the other way to look at it, for the audience, is to think about it is like it's something's called transference, and we've all experienced. So like you had a crappy day at work, and I mean your boss is writing you, or you just had met some customers, but you can't do anything about it. Because one, you just you don't want to lose your job and stuff, but you just got to eat it. But then you come home, and your kids are acting up a little bit. Maybe they won't sit down, and you snap. You start yelling at them.
You smack them. You kick the dog.
Well, yeah, if you want to go that way, or you just say mean stuff like, "I can't believe you're acting stupid today. You're disappointing me," and then you think back like, "God, you know what? I shouldn't have done that way." And you say, but the reason why is because it's called transference. It's because you felt disempowered at work. You couldn't control the situation you had, so you go to an area that you felt at some level, and it triggered you, and so someone that wasn't as strong, usually another partner or a child, or worst case, like you said, the dog, they can't defend themselves, so you take it out on them, because you're not going to get on a either conscious or subconscious level. Hopefully subconscious, because conscious makes it even worse, because you then are like deliberately doing it. But most time it's unconscious. You go and do it. So then, based on that argument, is it right? Is it, oh, honey, I had a bad day at work.
You're human. You understand.
That's why I smacked you. I'm weak. I couldn't. You know
No.
what? No. It's like that's why you don't put your hands on someone, and you definitely don't put your hands on someone that's smaller than you, that's older than you. And so, for all of you those out there that somehow rationalize it, one, it's kind of sad, but two, as another takeaway, you can see why people like that older man in Florida got away with killing someone is because of those type of process. It's that colorization. As a defense attorney, you want them on because they'll get your murdering,
Right. Yeah, I look
client
at it.
off because that's who you want. You want someone that they can sit there and they can rationalize these
Right.
things. You know, well, what about this? I don't feel this. It's like, really, he threw popcorn on him. That was a threat. And then,
Right.
and then there you
In
go.
what way exactly? In what way was somehow that lame joke a threat to Jada? For those people who keep saying, oh, well, he was, it was emotionally abusive. I've actually kind of gotten into it with a friend who was saying, nobody's thinking about Jada and the emotional abuse that she must have had to endure with her alopecia, and then turn it, I feel like, convolute it into it's about mental health. I'm like, no. Chris Rock was doing his job. He told tons of jokes. So everybody that got offended by his joke needed to come up and slap him? Is that what we're doing now? You get upset, you just get up there and just slap the person? No, it's called restraint. It's called responsibility. It's called emotional maturity. We don't just react and not, and not realize that there's going to be serious repercussions related to that.
And the thing too is like, again, going back to the some of the takeaways or learning moments about it, because again, like I said, we all get to those points, and that's where the pausing comes in. He of saying going, because he didn't run to the stage, so he walked.
He deliberately walked.
There was moment where it's like 1001. What am I doing?
He could have turned back. He could have went up there and stopped.
I could have said something. He could even if he could even turn it into a comedic, because you can exert control because he's a bigger guy. He could have just walked up, gave him a bear hug, shook him a little bit. People would have been laughing, and then he'd have been like, hey, and then put him down. That would have been something like Jason Momoa would have done, or The Rock. It's like all you have to do is give a look. I mean, because that's true strength. I mean, it's like and that's where it comes from. It's like he was sure. No, what he did is he reacted out just like a 16-year-old would have, or even when little kids go like, he hit me first. Or he said something, and and that's why I pulled my sister's hair. And what do we say? We said, oh, yeah, it's good for you because you should have pulled her hair. Matter of fact, you should have yanked it twice because she was mean. No, we don't say that. We say, first of all, you don't put your hands on your sister. Second of all, you don't put your hands on women, period, and you don't put your hands on people just because they say something mean. You learn to tough it up. Right? You learn to sit there and say something back.
Right.
Because the thing is, if you teach someone you don't teach them that life skill, they keep putting their hands on someone, guess what? Society is going to correct them. Right. And they're going to end up in a worse place all the time.
Right.
So
now, of course, Will Smith isn't your regular guy. So he may not suffer the same like the rest of us.
But this is the point. This is, again, going back to it, is that when you're at his level, it's not about you.
Right.
And here's the difference between him and Chris Rock. Chris Rock got slapped. He continued the show. And when the police came, he refused to press charges because in a way, he knew that this was bigger than him. The moment was bigger because there was so much in regards to other people.
Right.
And in a way, if anything, Will Smith should be grateful to him because he didn't take the moment away from him. But see, Will Smith is so selfish, and I'm going to say it. Him and his family are so selfish. They don't see that. They want to turn everything about them.
Right.
And that's really what it is. It's all about them. And they suck everyone else into that little world. There's so much going on in the world and suffering. It's all about them. But see, that's the whole point about it. It's idol worship. Because that's what they thrive on. It really is this whole dysfunction of disrespecting each other, sense disrespecting the people that are their fans, and pitting people against each other, and all under these guises, when really all it came down to was this selfish moment that all it was about them, and he felt that he was on top and he could do whatever, and he walked away, he tucked himself in and said, here I am.
And the universe has a way of correcting you.
And it's called us. Because in the end, it's like, are we going to accept this stuff? And that's the problem. Because again, it goes back down to idol worship. It's like, which is it? We talk about the golden rule, we talk about respect, but are we then to worship people that do that to each other? And then we sit there, if we're not going to give that value system to our own children who we really love, why then do we then give our undivided attention and money and everything else and our energy to that? We should be devoting that to people that really make a difference, whether it be clinicians, social workers, teachers, who are every day are going in and trying to teach the right values. So why do we support that? All these rationalizations. Wrong is wrong. And it's simple as that.
Right.
And here Chris Rock continued, he sat there and he made sure the show went on. He apologized for people. I mean, to apologize for something that really in the end, he was the only one that did. I don't even get this apologizing on Instagram. I mean, I just don't get that. It's just like, it's not personal.
Right.
Pick up the phone and talk to somebody. And not these talking points about love and peace. It's just like, it's ridiculous.
Right. Were you really exemplifying love and peace? No, that's the image you have portrayed, but really it's not consistent
it's not the brand.
with this particular.
No, it's all about
and
selling
I think
it.
That's the issue too with all of us, is that sometimes people look at these celebrities and they think the roles that they play and the people that they are the same. No, I still respect and love all of Will Smith's movies. There's not one Will Smith movie that I have not watched. I love
You watch Hancock?
Okay, I haven't watched Hancock, and I haven't watched The Wild Wild West. Those are the only two that I've never watched.
You didn't miss anything. So
everything else,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure I have watched. So the point is, though, that I think you can respect or you can enjoy his movies.
His work.
You can love him as an actor, but him as an actor and him as a private person are not the same. And that's the problem we fall into, where we believe that they are the same and that somehow he has always been this good, happy, loving, great guy. And I think what we saw was the real Will Smith. And so it is shocking for so many people and disappointing. But on the other hand, I would say, yes, I do see he is human. Yes, I understand where he's coming from, sort of, but I still feel like it was wrong. And, I definitely feel like it was very unfortunate, not just for the culture as Black people as a whole and what, he stands for, but I definitely think just for Hollywood as a whole and for the movie industry, because it really revealed a lot of things that maybe some of us weren't.
Well, again, it reveals that the fact is that we got to stop worshiping people. I mean, it's like, we're sitting there and worshiping people. Difference between appreciation. It's like, again, the actors, they do a craft and stuff, but it's like, again, it's this idol thing. It's like, instead of really putting it into things that are truly, of spiritual value and of lasting value, I mean, it's because like you keep saying, well, they're human. Well, if they're human, then we should be worshiping humans.
Right.
Right? Just like worshiping, I mean, it's just like we respect people, they do good work, we give people their fair due and stuff like that. But it's like with everyone, but to sit there and put people on this rarefied, and it's like.
Right. But isn't it true, though, to whom much is given? There's that saying, to whom much is given, much is expected, right? So whether we like it or not, sometimes because certain people have become extremely successful, people like, the Will Smith, the Denzel Washingtons, we tend to, as a society, expect more from us, from them.
Yeah, because the impact is greater. But see, I'm glad you brought up Denzel, because that is Denzel Washington and his wife. That's a classy. If there was to model, right, that's class. That's because I guarantee you, all Denzel Washington has to do. First of all, no one would even have done any type of that, and that goes back to the thing, because they don't put even if they had any drama, they don't put it out there because they respect each other. That's the classic, there's a husband and wife that they really love and respect. Samuel Jackson and his wife. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, just strong values of respect. They mutually respect each other. And so what
you're saying is Jada Pinkett and Will Smith, prior to this event, you would say don't respect each other,
Well, I can say she
or
don't.
not respectable.
She don't respect him. You don't put that stuff out there. You don't have, that word, constantly. But you don't
Yeah.
put it out there. You don't emasculate your man and then turn around and act offended. Because
Right.
the point is, you put it out there.
Right.
It's well known. Not, and I'm just with Hollywood, but everybody, you throw it out there. He's part of a meme. I'm on course. And then they
Right.
sit there and go, like, oh, he defended. It's like, but see,
Right.
that's manipulative.
Right.
How can you kick someone and put them down and then turn around and then
Right.
put this false?
And that's my problem
Those
too
are-
with all the women that it keeps saying that, oh, he was defending her and that he was trying to protect her from, even though I don't get protect her from what, but protect her from the humiliation. No, she humiliated him. I think over the course of years, people seem to have forgotten she, as his wife, has humiliated him. She has emasculated him. And
so when you do that,
right.
you're giving implied permission to other people to do the same.
Right.
See, that's the thing. What you do also gives consent. So if you're a sinner and you make fun of your husband in a party, you make a disparaging remark, and then someone says the same thing. You're like, "Oh no, you can't do that. Only I can do that." But what you're giving is you're showing, like, wait a minute. If you're doing it because you own him, because you're disrespecting. Respect in kind, and that's the thing. So you can't do it. And see, you can't sit there and do something and then expecting that it's not going to have any repercussions, because you're trying to get financial benefit out of it, because you're trying to uphold yourself as some sort of relationship guru and sort of stuff. But really what you're doing is truly dysfunctional and unhealthy, but you're trying to brand it and
Right.
sell it as healthy. That's the lie. And that's what a lot of people do, is they sit there and they say, I'm an expert, but what they're doing is just selling people bad medicine, and
Right.
people buy it.
Right.
And then you see it, and they'll make these convoluted arguments, and it's like, wait a minute. And then, like you said, you made a good statement. Hurt people,
Right.
people, right?
That's what in sort of, I guess, when I step back again as a clinician, as someone who has taken care of people and in some situations had to counsel married couples, when I look at Will Smith and Chris Rock, it's not necessarily just about one bad guy after another. I basically see it as two hurt people. The thing that people aren't talking a lot about before I go to Will Smith is that Chris Rock on multiple occasions has had interviews about his history of being bullied, his history of not feeling confident, outside of his work in comedy. He was someone that was bullied growing up. He was someone that always felt awkward. He was someone that always felt picked on. And there are a lot of people in my life that I see and can relate to when I see Chris Rock. So when I saw him getting smacked on stage, it was also that little bit of trigger, like, wow, this is disgusting. This is someone who clearly is not able to properly defend himself physically on stage with someone who is so much physically bigger. Number one, Chris Rock is older. Chris Rock is a smaller guy. Here comes Will Smith, who is larger, who is younger. I mean, it wasn't a fair match. And on top of that, Will Smith, I will say, clearly knew some of Chris Rock's weaknesses. He, again, has talked extensively about his lack of confidence and inability to lash out physically with anyone, because he has had historically...
He's also on a spectrum.
Right. He basically has a nonverbal learning disability. For those of you who don't know or haven't heard that before, you can look it up.
Yeah.
He is very socially awkward and maybe not always appropriate outside of his comedy. So he too has a, quote, medical condition.
Yeah.
For all of those that want to constantly throw out
Right.
Jada Pickett's issue, that it really wasn't fair. So again, as a clinician, that's what I was thinking about when I saw that. I was like, that's not right. You know, I wouldn't want my brother or my cousin who has some disability, you know, to a certain level to be slapped or punched on stage when you know he's not going to hit you back in front of all these people. You know, I mean, it just wasn't fair. Nobody's really talking about that. They're just talking about the quote, helpless little Jada.
Well, because it
Who
falls.
I don't think is
Yeah,
helpless.
well, obviously not, but exactly, because again, this is the colorization. It's like you want to pick again memes and ways to make it work to fit into
Right,
your perspective, so you're comfortable to rationalize what happened.
right,
And in the end, if again, when you start looking at it and dicing it, well, you use all the different rationalizations. In the end, you had the basic facts is that you have a larger person slapping a smaller person,
right. A smaller,
older
older
person
person.
on stage without warning.
Right,
Okay, so if you just take the basic facts, it's not good. That's it. You can add all these other things, oh, the emotional stuff like that. Those are what you call mitigating circumstances if you accept it. But if you
right.
take the good, just get the basic points, it don't look good. And then whether you put in all these other things,
And you try to
and then you start
rationalize
exactly, you start to
that,
then that's
yes,
the whole
it
point. You
is
start to
appropriate or it
appropriate,
was okay or it's
but in the
understandable.
end,
It still ain't right.
the straight point is that he would have gone to jail if it
If he were
wasn't
a
for a
regular
fact. If it
person.
was a regular person, he would have been hauled off, and if you had the wrong police officer, you might have gotten a little bit beat up. So that's the whole point. It's just like it's all kind of wrong.
Right. And like I
So
said before, I didn't elaborate, but yeah, hurt people hurt people. And we may have heard that term before, is that when I looked at Will Smith, you know, stepping back, I really feel a level of pity for him. Yeah, he's a wealthy guy in Hollywood and he's going to be okay. We all know that. In the end, he's more than likely going to be okay. But I still feel from one human being to another that this is someone who did what he did because he is hurt. I get it. He's got a lot of issues that need to be addressed, that need therapy. And you know, both him and Chris Rock, they
first
both gonna need
the
therapy
first
for
issue is
different.
Jada.
Well, she definitely is gonna need some therapy
No,
too.
no, his issue, his therapy is Jada.
Well, you know, I don't even want to go into another thing that goes on the internet is this whole that Jada is not a good wife for him or that she is the reason he has to go through all of this. I feel like that's not my place to say
not,
that
yeah.
that's his choice,
Yeah,
whichever
but-
person he wants to,
Yeah.
you know, spend his life with, that's his choice. That's not for me to say. Just like I wouldn't say that to a friend of mine that I knew probably wasn't with the right spouse. I just feel like it's not my business to go over there and tell her that,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, that's a separate issue. But I do feel like the fact that he could get up there and put his hands on someone just to show I'm a man, whatever, you know, that toxic masculinity, if that's what you think is a man, like, you need some therapy. You need help. Jada has done a number on you.
Yeah, an apology isn't enough. I don't think apology is enough, especially a weak apology. It's kind of like after the fact, because
Right.
again, and especially when you have a publicist and all these other people telling you, because then again, it's a machine, you know. It's not. It's disingenuous. It's like, you know, you really need to. You need to not. You know, you need to come out, and again, like I say, you need to set this right. And it's not just some, oh, you know, season of love, some vague. It's just like when we have these ridiculous, unfortunate, violent acts at school shooting and stuff, and people keep saying hopes and prayers, hopes and prayers.
Yeah, these sort of
You need
sayings,
to. We're
it's,
tired of this stuff. It's like, you know, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
right.
You know, and so it's like, you know what, you need to go and make it right, not only to Chris Rock, but to his family. You disrespected him, you disrespected his family. Okay, I mean, think about it. It's just like when you get upset, and let's put it down to you know, our level, not to these Hollywood stuff. You're driving, someone cuts you off, you lose your temper, you pull up, you start yelling at this other person acting nuts, and you forget that you got 3-year-old, 4-year-old kids in the back, scared. They don't know what's going on. They're frightened. You start driving erratic. So you think about it, because it affects other people.
Right.
And so the whole point is that many times when you do these things, it's not about other people, because all you think about is yourself.
Right.
It's a
Or,
selfish
think
act.
about all those great movies
So,
that were
right.
being
But
highlighted. Venus and Serena
right.
Williams and her father or their father.
Well, but it's also
like, it was just
love. But the point
right.
is, it's not about the movies. It's about, I'm talking about even bigger than that. It's about how you affected some young person watching,
Right.
dreaming about that. They could be on that stage and they see this stupidity.
Right.
Or someone in another part of this country, or another, or even in the world, it's then going like, oh yeah, this is something, and then it's like, really, this is the lesson? No, it has to be something bigger. And you know what?
So do you think the quote bigger is taking away his Oscar? Do you think that's it?
Take away his Oscar? I think that, because again, the Oscar represents his body of work, and there's debate on either side.
Right.
I would hurt him, yes, because I think that's his whole thing that he's been working on, is trying to get an Oscar to validate his sense of importance. I would suspend it. I wouldn't take it away. I would.
Yeah, I wouldn't take it away, honestly, because I feel like it's two separate issues.
I would suspend him from the Academy. I would take away that. I would basically put him on, some sort of probation, if it's possible, where he needs to go and teach anger management, or go around the schools and do something. And he needs to donate a significant amount of his wealth to anti-violence. And that's what I would do. And you know what? I would think he should donate a significant amount of his wealth towards autism and stuff like that, because a lot of times that's what happens, is that we need to be more tolerant of people that just because they say something you may not like it, because think about also the lesson you say. If you go to a comedy place and someone says something, you get roasted. We've been to ones where we sat in the front row, someone will make a comment,
right.
You just laugh it off,
right?
Or if it's not funny, you don't say anything.
Right. But again, to people who keep saying that he was just tired of it, he's tired of people making jokes, and just this was the last,
Well, I mean, again,
I just think, I get that, or I'm trying to understand and relate and be in his shoes. I can't, right. But I get it. But you took it out on the wrong guy, point blank, period.
Yeah.
You just took it out on the wrong guy.
The guy you could take it out on was
right.
Was the guy that was sleeping with your wife, man.
Well, not even that. All the people that have made jokes about, and then nobody talks about, like, the female comedians that were there, that went on set before Chris Rock, that made jokes.
Yeah, he laughed at them and stuff. No.
That joked about his open marriage and all of that. I mean, I would think that would be disrespectful. If another female came and joked about you and I in an open marriage and all of this and that, I think I would be mad.
Well, first of all, I'd be shocked, because no one had told me about it. So I'd been like, oh man, really? When did this happen? 20 years ago? You mean 20 years I had open marriage and
you didn't know.
I didn't know. But so that's stupid me, right?
So, that to me is like, how come nobody was upset about that? We just stuck on this alopecia stuff. That to me is just on the surface. Like, I really don't think he was mad about that alopecia joke. I really don't think it was that. So all of y'all that are sitting there talking about it was insensitive and making fun of women's hair,
Now,
okay,
we had a comment, which, I think it's fair. It said that comedians need to know that words do hurt. And
but they're
fair.
Comedians, and you went to the show. They're doing fair. Their job.
Now there are some comedians, they call them insult comics, that are there, right? I think like Andrew Schultz is one.
Right.
He does very sharp comedy. I like Andrew Schultz because he does crowd work. There are some. Okay. I'm a big comedy, and I totally respect that art, because it's tough. It's tough. If you don't know, just presenting in front of a group is one thing. It's frightening. And another thing is to think on your feet. So comedians, it's a specific type, because you have comedians that do sets, that they have jokes.
Right.
Then you have those that do crowd work. Andrew Schultz does crowd work. He's very good. Because what he does, he'll look around, he'll look at people, and he'll start asking them questions, and he'll pull it, and then he'll be able to make a joke about it, and also make it relevant.
Right.
So like I've seen one where he was talking to the
All
guy.
right, wait, get back
No, I'm
to
going to talk about it. So anyway, see, get back. I know I don't want to. Because,
get
but the
back
point
to-
is that
words hurt.
no, but words
supposedly.
hurt, and they do. But the thing is that you have to look at the intent. Is that when you go to a comedy store,
Right.
the intent is to make people laugh, and sometimes, yeah, it's at your expense. Okay.
Right.
And like I saw one set where a comedian was saying like, "Oh, you're with this guy," and stuff like that, and the guy was just like, "Yeah, I'm blind." The room got quiet, and then the comedian had to make a decision, and he was all like, "Well, that killed me." And so he made fun of himself,
Right.
and that was a good comedian. Now you have some bad comedians; they'll go into it, and then but the crowd will put it down. They won't
Right.
laugh or they'll groan, and then they'll
Right.
move on.
I mean, I totally get words hurt.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
get that.
Yeah.
But then you shouldn't be in that crowd. We have become a society where we're so sensitive. It's sickening how sensitive people have become. It's like you've killed the joy now. I mean, it's like everybody's got to be on their P's and Q's and politically correct. It's like, why can't we just laugh? Why can't a joke be a joke? If you're that sensitive, don't be in the audience. You know what to expect when you go to an awards ceremony with lots of grown-ass people. Like, why do you got to be so sensitive? Leave the room. Get up and leave the room. Don't watch. I can't relate. I'm sorry.
Well, again, that's the thing that, I mean.
And again,
it's
like
true.
you said, intent.
It's
If
true.
you're doing it just to be mean,
Yeah.
you're just saying something to someone to
hurt.
put them down, to
Yeah.
hurt them. That's one thing. That's not what I'm talking about. But here, you've got a comedian doing his job. Like, dude, chill.
Well, and again, that's the thing. Yeah, words hurt and so forth. But again, the sentence was comedians. It's like, well, that's the whole point. Now, if a comedian is so bad that they're hurting a lot of people, guess what? There won't be a comedian very long. So
Right.
the other thing to do is then you don't support them. You don't listen to them. Stuff like that. See, that's the other thing too, is that, we don't have to hear everything.
Right.
So, it's just like, if someone sits there and says something mean, I stop listening. I turn it off. I say, like, whatever. And that's part of the free speech. You can say what you want to say. That doesn't mean that I have to hear what you're saying.
Right.
Just like you have free speech, I have free ability to choose not to hear, not to listen.
Not to support that.
And not to support that comedian, not to support that cause, or even make comments. Just like someone could disagree with what I say. I respect that. I don't expect everyone to sit there, "Oh, Ken, that's so smart, that's so great." Really? It's like, no, half the time, it's like, no, you got to have different opinions. And I try to look at other people's products. I understand, just like I understand Will Smith's team. I mean, I agree with it, but I understand where they're coming from. My counter argument is just that you're conflating, because
Right.
again, if you start stripping stuff away, again, a bigger person assaulted a smaller person. I mean, and that's what it comes down to. There was a choice, and there was no self-defense involved. It's wrong. So,
Right. Her life was not in danger.
I mean, come on. And again, when you put your stuff out there.
If you go out there and if you go out there to defend me and my life is not in danger, I'm not going to look at that as, oh, you were, standing up for your wife. No, I'm going to look at that. That was dumb. That's how I feel. There have been times where we've been in situations where another man has been disrespectful, condescending, and so many, and Kenton is like this close. And I'm like, nope, don't do it. It's not worth it. It is so not worth it. I know your heart. You know my heart. You don't need to demonstrate to everybody else or to anyone else that you've got my back by putting your hands on somebody else.
I don't have
that is not a definition of a man to me.
I don't have your back. I have your front. And I have your front.
You got my front, my side, all of it.
It's a family show. It's a family show.
So anyway, honey, I think we've been on here long enough, y'all.
Yeah. And folks, the big takeaway is like, again, at the end of the day, it's like, we got worthier things,
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much going on in the world that we can do better. Let's just teach each other to do better. And that's the learning lesson. It's like, come on, it's just like we got to respect each other and do better. Even if we disagree, we can do it in a way that we
Right,
don't.
go build up your emotional IQ.
Yeah.
We're not Neanderthals anymore. Black people should not be expected to just reflexively, constantly feel disrespected. Therefore, you must react. I mean, we've evolved past that. That's how I see it personally. It's not about constantly, he did this, he said this, we need to react. We're not on the street. At least not all of us are on the street anymore. And again, I don't know. It just really shows us a lot of us need some therapy. A lot of us need some therapy. And we have to step back and think, what are we teaching our children? What are we teaching our
I
children?
mean, we keep saying we want a better world, but then
Right.
how do we condone this behavior?
Right.
Nah.
I just don't know how you could justify it. I really just don't know how. I can again understand it. I see, I understand and I see how he could have been triggered. But I think it was driven by ego more so than about protecting his wife. I think it was just his desire to show after so long that this is me being a man.
And Chris Rock was the perfect one.
Target.
Because I guarantee you,
Right.
it was The Rock that was up there.
Yeah, you think he would have put his hands on The Rock?
Jason Momoa.
You really think
I mean,
so?
No. He would have kept laughing like he was at
Right.
the beginning.
Protect black women.
Yeah.
Right.
Slap it. Yeah.
And we should. I'm not making fun of that at all. Women,
No.
black women are the least
should put-
protected group in our society.
yeah.
They should be protected.
all women.
But I don't think this was the way.
All women should be protected.
Right. This was not-
Black,
this was not it.
Latina, any
This was
woman.
not it for me.
But again, that's what I'm saying. Is like if you change the fact pattern a little bit, what if it was a white man and his white wife was disrespected and he goes up and slaps him? Is it now wrong? Why
Right.
is it right for the other side? See, that's the thing. When you start switching it up, no, wrong is wrong. That's the thing. It's like no one should be doing that, especially for a weak joke. It wasn't even that.
Right. It's like, go handle
Wasn't
your
even cruel.
issues before you come up here
Yeah.
and tell me how sensitive you are.
So I want to put it out there to the Academy that if they
Not
want
that the Academy
if they
gives two
want to-
shits about
if
what we're
if they want to
saying.
invite us as a show of good faith and invite us and our top 10 supporters as a crew, as a group, because we support each other. Let's all go together to show that we're there to turn that leaf over.
You're silly, Ken.
I'm so ridiculous. But hopefully next time we can be talking about some other stuff.
Oh, we will not be talking about this
No,
next
done.
time. We're done.
Done.
I'm over
This
it.
is so like.
Even though I know this is not going to be over.
Well, no, because
It's
again.
not going to be over, but I'm over talking
But
about it.
I hope Will's publicist picks this up and looks at some donations to like various
What?
groups and stuff like that.
Oh,
And
you
get
mean-
off of this like vague season of love and all that.
Let the healing begin.
Let the healing begin.
Yeah,
It's like,
some
no,
nice
no.
words.
It's just cheap. You talk about
Yeah.
cruel words. Let's talk about fake words. How about that? We all focus on cruel words. What about fake
Right,
words?
right,
You know?
right,
No,
right.
Go do something substantive. You know?
All
But
right,
anyway.
bye, y'all.
All right, you guys are the best, and we appreciate you. And again, we're happy that we're trying to get back onto this wisdom. If there's topics you would like us to talk about, please share with us. If you disagree, that's great. We're trying to figure out a way that we can do a live, but also a Q&A.
Well, you just do it. People put out questions, you just do it.
Yeah, but I can't read that fast. So, I mean, people, yay, bye. So anyway, we love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, press off, boo boo. X.
Yeah, so that-